and welcome to this video on how to schedule tasks or processes within MYOB Advanced. Scheduling tasks or processes within MYOB Advanced is extremely powerful as it means things can happen automatically for you and not be reliant on someone doing the action. Under each module, you'll see a section called processes. And in the most part, on all of these processes, you can create a schedule that's going to run them automatically. Today, I'm going to demonstrate the process of creating shipments from sales orders. But the method that I follow in setting this schedule is the same no matter what process you're doing. So if I go into the process orders screen, the first thing I do is I set the screen up as if I was going to process the actual orders now. So I'm going to select to create a shipment, and from there I could select other filters that I may want to put onto this particular schedule. In this case, I'm going to leave it that it's going to do all sales orders. If I wanted to run this now, I would generally come up to the Process All button. But you'll see there's a button next to it that if I hover over it, says Schedules. And if I click on the down arrow, I've got the ability to add a schedule. When I click that, the Automation Schedule screen comes up. Now I'm going to take you through a lot of the fields here, but some I'm going to miss because they're not used very frequently. The first field is the schedule ID. This is automatically generated when you save the schedule. Secondly, you want to put in a description, and the description should be descriptive enough that when you're looking at all your schedules, you understand what each one is doing. So in this case, I'm going to put in a description of create shipments. The screen ID has been filled out for me already because I came from the process orders screen. Under details, I can put things such as when I want this schedule to actually start. So I might be creating this now, but I only want it to start operating at some time into the future. The next one is expires on. You may only want this particular schedule to run for a certain period of time. So you can untick the no expiration date and set a date that you'd like it to stop. There's also execution limits. By default, this is 1. So if you don't want this to run only once, remember to tick the no execution limit. Alternatively, you could increase that 1 to 2, 3, 10, whatever is appropriate for you. There's also the ability to keep a history of what has actually happened. Now, you can say keep full history, but remembering that's probably going to bloat your system a little bit and also put a lot of noise in the actual schedule when you look at that history. My recommendation is just keep a small amount of history, and in this case we're going to go with 5 because that's a week's worth. Then there's process with branch. By dropping this down, you can actually restrict this particular schedule to run for only a select branch or company. By leaving it blank, we're saying we want it to run for all branches and all companies. Then if we go into the schedule, this is where we actually set how often it's going to run. You can see that there are a number of different schedule types. It's gone to daily at this point in time and saying it's going to execute today on the 3rd of the 6th, and it'll execute every 1 day. Now I could change that to every 2 days, which means that it'll happen every 2nd day and so on. Now for this particular example, I'm wanting to run the create shipment process once a day each morning. So I'm going to say weekly, and I want it to run for each weekday. So I'm going to say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Now here I can also say every how many weeks. So if I was to put in 2 there, that would be every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, every 4 weeks, and so on. But I want it to run each week on the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I then have my execution time. I would like this to run before the warehouse comes in, so I'm going to set it to run at 5 a.m. There's also a stops on. You may have a schedule that you actually run multiple times throughout the day, but you don't want it to run overnight. So you might say it starts at 5 a.m. and finishes at 5 p.m. Then below that in the every box, you'll enter in, it might be every 30 minutes that this is going to run. In this example, I want it to run just the once at 5 a.m. each morning. I can then put in a series of conditions, and if I had filtered the process orders screen, perhaps for only a selected customer, then this condition screen would be automatically filled for me. But I can add additional filters and conditions here if I wanted to. Coming into the field name, you're able to see that there are a lot of options here that I can select and then put values to. In this example, I simply want it to run for all. The last tab here is the filter values, and you can see it's defaulted with a number of things here. So the action is to create shipment. Again, that's defaulted from the process order screen because that's the action I wanted to do. Select by ship date was also defaulted from there. But we then have the shipment date and end date. And you'll see that there is a tick box here for relative. And that means that it's going to actually run every single day, and that date will be updated every time it's run. So once I've filled out everything I need to, I then click Save and Close. That has now added this process task to the scheduler. So where do we see that? Well, under System Management, there is an option here of the Automation Schedule Status. And if I click on that, it's going to list for me all the schedules that I have set up in the system. And you can see I have a number here, but the only one that's active is the one that I've just created called Create Shipments. And it tells me in a snapshot a bit of information about this, such as when it's going to start on, when it expires, and when it was last run. I can click on the link here, and that will open up the screen that we were just in, so that I can make any adjustments that I wanted to on this automation schedule. The other thing I can do is I can click on the schedule here, and I can say View History. And this is that history that we spoke of before, where it's going to keep 5 days worth of history. So we can see here that it's run once, which was the moment we just saved it a little while ago. And we can see that 9 records were processed and 5 went into error. So I can click on that 9, and that's going to open up the processing results box where I can see why some may have gone into error and take appropriate action. So that was a quick run through on how to do automation schedules. If you have any further questions or experience any issues setting this up, please don't hesitate to contact your consultant or drop a support call into advancedsupport@starbusinesssolutions.com.au.